You know, Tim, there seems to be a staple in prison films, and that's the shower scene. I think audiences look forward to it because they know something terrible is going to happen. Now, I know crews are supposed to be sensitive when they're, without clothes on, but is there a certain sense of gallows humor when you're shooting a scene like that with the crew members?
Well, I remember that day. It was particularly cold, and for some reason, it was in the middle of the summer. It was very cold, and the water was very cold, and it's very difficult to do. Because it's okay if you take a cold shower for 2 minutes, but when you do it for 3 hours, there's this hypothermia that starts happening.
Yeah, I couldn't help but think that this film must have been a bit of a relief from the player, where you're always wearing great-looking suits and everything's perfect and dapper, and you get to wear a little bit more casual outfits.
Yeah, I didn't have to worry so much about my appearance. It's always a pleasure.
You know, I've eaten on a few movie sets, and I've always been impressed at how good the food is coming out of those trailers and all that. I'm looking at the cafeteria scenes in the prison, and I'm thinking, where did that food come from, and who prepared that?
Cans. They came from cans. It was the worst food. Tried to eat just the vegetables because the meat was uneatable.
We're doing a piece on actors' bit parts in films, and it mentions in the press kit that you were in Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, because I read once that a lot of the actors who did that film thought that the initial script was a lot different than the way the film turned out.
Mm-hmm.
When you went into that film, how did you expect it to be?
I really wasn't expecting much out of it. I didn't expect it to be such a propaganda machine as it became. It wasn't like that in the script. But for me, it was an ideal job. I worked for a week, and then I had 13 weeks off paid, and then I had 1 more week of work. So I can't complain, and it's definitely paid me well. So
Good gig, right?
it was a good gig.
How big a deal was that film for you at the time?
It was a huge deal because it was the first real, I think, quality movie I was in. It was Rob Reiner, who was wonderful, a great person, and my boss on this job too. And I developed a really good friendship out of that movie with John Cusack.
I've always been fascinated with when a film comes out, how good actors are at predicting which films will be successful or which ones will be more successful. I love the movie Cadillac Man. I thought it was great, but I know it didn't do that well. Did you have higher hopes for that film when it came out?
Not really, because I thought it missed the boat on a couple parts. I thought that the real joy of that movie for me was developing a friendship with Robin, that still lasts to this day. Talked to him the other day on the phone, and that's for me what that movie was about.